up your critical thinking skills cards because we need to save them for later. So, Keith is passing around the plate. If you feel we've done a good job, you can just put $50 in there too, and we'll happily take that and go and get a bottle of champagne. Okay, so as that comes around, just pop your cards in. I don't want anything else. Okay, all right. It's hard to bring them back, isn't it, after such comedy? Okay, we're going to start. We're going to start to grab some things that you learnt, and I'm only taking two things that you've learnt per skill. Okay, so let's start with accuracy. Who learnt something about accuracy, and what was it? Down the back. And a second one? Over here. Got a second one here. Can you stand up and give us your name?
G'day. Chad. In our little group then, we said the more emotional the response, it tended to be less accurate.
Okay.
In terms of like the data.
Yeah, interesting. Isn't that interesting? Okay, an accuracy reflection?
Okay, Carmel. And we found that there was a lot of inaccuracy, in fact, in some of the speakings that we had. There was differences of opinions, and then there was some, we believe, inaccurate discussion. So it's hard to get accuracy in a 10-minute time frame.
Yes, but if you're watchful for it, you can find anything. Okay, so when there's emotion involved, I'm only taking two. That's the deal. When there's emotion involved, reflection becomes less accurate, and it's really hard to do that quickly and get to that. So, a learning for our next day of witnesses. Okay, I'm going to take two on clarity, which is the blue card. All right. Oh, look, jumping out of the seat. We've got one here and another second one on clarity. Okay, all right.
See, my team's important. Hi, I'm Sonia. We found that clarity was essential in the information we received from the speakers to aid in our opinions. What we actually found was lack of clarity only helped us form opinions about the speakers rather than concentrate on the information. So those who were a bit fluffy, they were a bit fluffy.
Okay, interesting. That's good fun. So, it's actually, I reckon that's a really human nature thing, isn't it, coming out? You start looking at the individual as opposed to what they're saying. Really interesting. Do we have another reflection on clarity? Yes, Diana. Just here, Keith. Oh, have you got one down the back? No?
Thank you for the group that I sat in. You'd like me to stand?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Easier to see you.
The clarity was really around in listening to the speakers, but it clarified what we needed to do in terms of making some really salient selections about the witnesses.
Good.
So the clarity came in that. So it was a great opportunity.
One to us. Good one, team. Yes, good. Okay, so really helping to clarify what information gaps you've got and how they might be filled and by sort of whom. Good. Okay, let's go to logic. So what did you learn about logic and things making sense? So one in the front with Andrew. We have a second one, another one in the front down here.
In talking to the presenters, we found where there were gaps in logic, that was the areas that we thought we wanted to focus on with the witnesses and the experts to then fill in the gaps.
Yeah, okay. So logic's an interesting one, isn't it? It's sort of a bit more fluid than is it accurate or clear. It's, how's this making sense? And the more information you hear will help it to make more sense.
Hi,
sorry, I can't see your name.
Yes, I'm undercover, it's all right.
Okay, good.
My name's Trevor. I was in the blue group, and speaking to others in the green group, we both identified the same logic flaw, and that was in the method of bringing the waste into South Australia and then deciding, what are we going to do with this? We haven't decided where we're going to dig our hole yet. We think that should all be done beforehand. There should be a logical sequence right the way through.
Okay. All right, so that's a really interesting point to remember when you get into deliberation mode and writing mode about, you know, how you might map that out. Okay, let's go to breadth. So breadth is about, is it covering multiple perspectives? What did you learn about that skill? Do we have someone to offer anything about breadth? Yes. And can you stand up for us and give us your name?
I'm Tara. We found with the breadth question that when someone had a particular viewpoint, they were very strong on that, it was really difficult to actually ask questions or get to tease out what they thought about other viewpoints as well. So
Yeah.
that was sort of a challenge, I guess.
Yes, yeah, it is. And you know yourself, when you're really fixed, it can be really difficult to stretch into other things. So anything else about breadth that you observed? Yeah, Maddie. Is a mic coming?
Thank you. Hi, Maddie. What I realise about breadth is that the more speakers we have, the more witnesses we have, the greater the breadth will be. We can't rely on one or two witnesses to give us all the information that we need.
Yeah, okay. So when we, in the next little bit, when we get into this witness selection, maybe that's something to think about, how we keep that breadth so we get perspectives. I'm only taking 2, Greg. Sorry, you missed the boat. Okay, the next one is depth. So depth is about dealing with the complexities. You've got both. I saw them both. Go, you choose. I've got 2 there.
Hey, I'm Caleb. We found 10 minutes wasn't really enough time to get into depth of certain issues.
Yeah, yep.
Which we'll be able to leave it. And then just one other quick thing on some of the more emotional responses to the issue. When you push them as just details, sometimes they wouldn't have the details to back up those emotional responses.
Yeah, because, well, emotional responses need trust and relationship building to unfold, don't they, sometimes? And not necessarily going to happen in 10. Okay, last one about depth.
Maybe you should find somebody else, because I was going to say almost exactly the same thing. 10 minutes is impossible to find out.
I'm going to take another one. Look, Viv, you got one. Yay!
Probably this was more concerned with the drive to leave emotion out of these decisions when it's a critical part of critical thinking and science-based opinions and research. So to leave that out, you're not going into the depth.
Yeah. So it's really, really interesting. I know as you were talking, I was thinking of jury 1 and they did the same thing. They kind of went, oh, there's this whole emotional side. So how you balance that fact with music and emotions. Ta-da! Okay. Oh, that was an important moment, ruined by music. What's going on? I am not going to dance. No dancing. Stop it. Okay. So can we kill the music? Nah. All right. Well, let's just keep working through it. Is it relevant? Is the music relevant? Okay, relevance.
Sorry?
For so many different aspects to be relevant to one thing. And often the speakers were speaking about one aspect, and then when you question them about other things that are also relevant, then they're grey on that kind of matter and that kind of thing. So there was, but in questioning them, other relevant things also came to light. So the questioning process is great because it allows for the more relevant things and less relevant things, and you get a viewpoint on, like instead of just one fixed view, you ask them about something else that is relevant, and there's not necessarily the information or whatever there to be able to answer it.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
So my shortened version
Go on.
is...
Good luck.
Let me have a go, because I was listening to music. That sometimes relevance you have to dig a bit for, to find it, to make it, is it relevant? Oh, actually, no, it's not. Or, yes, it is, the pot of gold. So it sometimes takes work to get there and to test things to help you understand if it's relevant or not. Yeah. Okay, we want a second one. Greg, I'm going to let you go. Give him the mic.
We found with relevance that if we asked some of the questions that the stakeholders were actually getting off the topics of what we wanted to find out, so that they were going on to irrelevant topics instead of sticking to our questions. So when we asked the questions, we had to pull them up and say, well, hey, that's not the question we asked.
Yep.
How is that relevant to the question that we actually asked you?
Yeah, and the bigger thing that's really going to challenge you, and this is interesting as you go into witness work, is to go, you might not be asking a specific question, but is that relevant to what we are looking at? How is that relevant to our remit? And so constantly having that in the back of your mind, going, is it relevant, and when do we pick it up? Okay, I think we've got 2 from each. Well done. Really great, as I said before, to see you using and testing this. It's a relatively new tool that we're using in juries, and we really hope that it equips you with what you need. You'll see these cards again the next time we're back together. So if you haven't handed them in, please do that. One more thing before I do hand over to Nick is you will see the fact check wall is getting populated. Feel free to keep putting things up there that you want fact checked. We'll be using that in 2 ways, and probably the most important way is to help us brief the witnesses that you're about to choose. We can say, this is on the jury's mind, and, can you address this kind of issue? So there's a lot of stuff up there, and we think there's probably more to come, but I just wanted to remind you about that. And with that, I will hand over to Nicole.
Thank you. Terrific. Yes, well, you've got it. I was just asking about that.
I have it.
Excellent. Okay. All right, I'm about to send you into afternoon tea with an activity. I know you've been very busy. Oh, listen to the murmur. All right. Okay. On your seats when you came in, you had this card. Our last activity for today is to select, your job is to select your witnesses for day 3, the next time we come together on the 29th of October. So you know that in your book there were 159. There was unfortunately one left out that has been put up on the wall, so that's 160. We have had, I understand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 additions already. And your job is to think about, A, have you got any information gaps that you need filling? So the card says on the left-hand side, we need the following information gaps filled to help us do our job effectively. It then asks on the right-hand side, on day 3, we can hear from a limited number of witnesses. We can simply not hear from 170. Or you'd be doing 2-minute speed dialogues. So sometimes it might be better to get a document. I know a particular person, sorry I've forgotten your name, asked me about hydrology, for example. Now, hydrology might be met best by somebody seeking out the hydrology of the areas around South Oz in order to inform you about that. A document might be able to be provided. On the other hand, you might feel like it simply can't be provided by material, it has to be a verbal thing in the room. Think carefully, because we already have a fairly extensive list. That doesn't stop you from adding more. But what I'd like you to do is, if you do say, no, actually it's a witness or a speaker that would be best placed to give us that information, I'd like you to check if that witness or speaker is already on your list. So A, the person, but B, the type of person. So if it's a hydrologist, for example, is there a hydrologist already in that list? So you will then use that information when we come back with our reflections. But if it is a new person, not somebody that's already on the list, you need to call over afternoon tea, a person with a red shirt. So say, we've identified a new person that isn't already on that list. A person in a red shirt will come over to you with blank A4 paper and ask for the name of that person. And they might even write on the back what specific skills that person brings or how we might contact them. All your new ideas for witnesses need to be up by the end of morning tea.
Afternoon tea.
Afternoon tea. Sorry, I'm losing my ends of the day. By the end of afternoon tea. So when we come back, we've got any of the extra white pages and we're ready to start choosing from this list when we come back. M.
Sorry, there's a few people that don't have...
The cards?
I think there's spares floating around.
Okay, if you don't have one, there's a spare, thank you, sir, for holding that up. There are spares on some chairs around, and you can also potentially go to a red shirt person who'll hand them out to you. Okay, there's a couple of spares, thank you, red shirted people, team. Okay, so grab one of these, and what I'm going to ask you to do over the coffee break is just, find some new friends, find some people that you haven't met yet that are friends, and have a chat to them about, well, what information gaps do you have? I think I might have this. We might start writing that down. Is that something we could get from a document? Or do we think we need a speaker? Is it already on the list? Is it new? Is that clear? Yes. Can we get a microphone, please? Here.
Hi, Rachel. One of the things that came up in our group was that we'd like to see people at the same time of opposing views of the same information. And what you're asking us to do is to nominate one person from an area. Why is it we can't have two?
No, so can I clarify?
Yeah.
Who was speaking? We're never going to ask you to nominate one person off that list.
Okay.
What's going to happen on day 3 is we have 5 categories of speakers. So safety is going to be split in 2 because it's massive. Transport and storage. We're going to have economics, we're going to have consent, and we're going to have trust. And you'll have 5 speakers in each of those categories. It won't be like today, it'll be a different format, but you'll get a chance to at least go to 3 different categories over the time we're together, and we're going to pool our knowledge. So you won't be choosing one.
No, but
Yeah, I know you want opposing, so you may choose. That's great. So when you look at the lists and start thinking about your choices, you might say, I'm going to put my choice on this person and this person because they're opposing. In your booklet, somebody help me with the section of the booklet, I think it's section 5, thank you everybody, is your witness list. And on that witness list, it has a person's name and a description of the sort of knowledge, experience or expertise that they've got. Whether they're opposing or not. Okay. Emma, did you want to respond to that? We need a mic for Emma, please. It's all right.
Sorry, I didn't actually mean to make myself a part of the conversation. I was over there taking photographs and I thought this might help. The last column tells you who nominated the person to be on the list. So it'll tell you what stakeholder was interested in having that person on the list for a large number of them. So for some it'll be mothers from a Sustainable South Australia, for a Sustainable South Australia, some will be Business SA, some will be Conservation Council. And so you should be able to tell, that'll give you some sense. We can't ask those people. We couldn't ask those people. This should be Ilka talking about this. I landed myself in this, so maybe Ilka should talk about it. Do you want to take over, Ilka?
Just another small piece of information is that so I was responsible on your behalf with Democracy Code
Ilka, would you mind
for pulling the witness list together. Now I'm going to walk quietly. Hello. I wonder whether it's worthwhile me giving a very small amount of information about how the witness list was pulled together for you. You'll probably have other questions, but that might answer some questions that are in your mind at the moment. Is that helpful? Yep, okay. So the way we produced the list on your behalf, the first thing is of course you can choose any witness you want, totally outside of these 160 people, but we wanted to give you a starting point. Because of that, we don't know sometimes what we don't know. I take very seriously my job for you in producing a starting point that is open, transparent, credible, and as balanced as possible. And the best way to do that, we feel, especially through what we learnt with the first citizens jury, is to give some basic summary information about each potential witness using the same amount of space, describing them in the same way so that it's as neutral as possible. And we know that you as jurors can have a look at that information and make some informed judgment based on the information that's there, the organisation the person is with, and who nominated them, where that information is available. So that's how the list was developed and why it looks like it does.
Great. Thanks, Ilka. Rachel? That's helped. Yeah, you've raised it and it's an issue for others. And does that answer your question? Yeah, helps. Great. Thank you. Mel? Yep.
If people did want further clarification on the groups that actually put them forward, because I mean, who is CJ1, RC?
CJ1 is Citizens Jury 1.
But they're all in acronyms. Is there a list that gives the acronyms?
The page before.
Awesome.
Yeah. See? Crowdsourcing information, collective knowledge. Well done. Yes, Andrew. I'll come to you, Fuzzy.
John?
Yep. Andrew?
Look, my apologies if I misunderstood you, but...
Sorry, stay together.
The group I've been working with all day are reasonably cohesive. We've already done half of this exercise. We already know that you're going to spend longer trying to explain how to do the process than we would be given to do the exercise. I'm going to meet with the people I already know.
All right, great. Thank you for telling us that. And I'm going to finish up real soon. And can we just get the mic to Fuzzy? Just before you say that, I just want you to know, I know some of you have done it and some of you haven't, the dove, owls, peacock, eagles, the doves and the owls are very happy to keep hearing these instructions and the eagles just want to get into it. So that's the different styles we have in democracies, and we're just trying to pull it together for everybody. Fuzzy.
There's a couple of topic headings. You've got consent, trust, etc.
Yep.
There's a couple that are not up there that I'd like to see up there.
Yep.
I don't know if it's possible to add extra headings.
I wouldn't worry about the headings at this point because we're going to look across the list.
Because one of them is multi-factor risk assessment, which is a statistician's job. Because this is a multi-factor risk situation.
So if you've got a specific witness that you would like to do that, or if it's a type of person you feel is not on the list, then we need to get that in the break.
Right,
okay?
So that's a topic. And the other one is human well-being.
Yeah.
What impact will this decision have on the psychology?
And I have those two suggestions from you up on the wall from yesterday.
Okay.
Thanks, Fuzzy. Okay, I need to, last one over here, and then I'm going to go to the break because I know that the gentleman who I don't know his name up the back, he's ready to do it.
I just wanted to check if...
Can't hear you, sorry.
I just wanted to check if those witnesses that we miss out on, because we're obviously not going to get to see everyone, will they be recorded, transcribed or anything like that?
Oh no, not every witness is going to be asked to speak to the topic because it's simply, that is a massive task. Essentially, we're choosing the key witnesses that you need to hear from. Okay, they're going to be less than this, but we're going to get 25. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that there. We need to go to afternoon tea. Your task is to talk to people about this conversation, not just witnesses, information gaps. Okay, you ready? We come back at, somebody help me.